Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are taking a look at another Planet of the Apes movie as we take a look at the Tim Burton directed Planet of the Apes starring Mark Wallberg. And if you are enjoying these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. But for now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we are covering Planet of the Apes. This movie was released on July 27, 2001, and it was directed by Tim Burton. The screenplay was by William Broyles Jr., Lawrence Connor, and Mark Rosenthal. The production companies were 20th Century Fox and the Zanuck Company, and it was distributed by 20th Century Fox. The budget for this movie was $100 million, and it did a box office return of $362.2 million. So in terms of the production, in 1988, 20th Century Fox President Craig Birmingham was impressed with Adam Rifkin's Never on a Tuesday, and he brought him in to pitch working on a Planet of the Apes reboot. Rifkin would be hired to write a Planet of the Apes sequel, but not a sequel to the fifth film, but a sequel to the first Planet of the Apes film starring Charlton Heston. The story that he proposed had the apes reach the Roman Empire era, and where a human related to Charlton Heston's character named Duke would lead a revolution against the apes. The movie was tentatively titled Return to the Planet of the Apes, and it was placed on the fast track to development. They actually would hire Rick Baker to develop prosthetic makeup, and Danny Elfman was hired to compose the score. Possible lead actors for the piece was going to be Tom Cruise or Charlie Sheen. However, days before the film was set for pre-production, new studio executives arrived at Fox, and creative differences arose with Rifkin, and the project would be ultimately canceled due to those creative differences. The project would resurface with Peter Jackson and Peter Walsh pitching a version where the apes would reach the Renaissance era, and the story would have had the ape government concerned over new works of art while the humans were revolting. Roddy McDowall was actually hired to play a Leonardo da Vinci type character. However, the project was abandoned when Peter Jackson went to go work on his project Heavenly Creatures. In 1993, Fox hired Don Murphy and Jane Hampshire as producers, and possible directors that were rumored were Sam Raimi and Oliver Stone. The story for this version focused on a frozen ape who had secret codes to the Bible that would foretell the end of the civilization. Oliver Stone was ultimately hired, and he would bring on Terry Hayes to write the screenplay with the tentative title called Return of the Apes. The story would be set in the future, and a plague has made humans extinct. A time traveler named Will Robinson discovered that apes developed the virus to make humans extinct. Fox president Peter Sherman loved the script and was hoping that this would be the start of a new franchise. In March of 1994, Arnold Schwarzenegger was contracted to play the title role of Robinson. However, Fox would become frustrated about how adult the movie was becoming and wanted this movie to be more family-friendly. The project would ultimately be abandoned in February of 1995. The final version, that led to the Tim Burton version, is in 1999, William Broyles Jr. would be offered a chance to write his own reboot of the Planet of the Apes and was promised creative control. Fox wanted the project to be released in July of 2001, and after several rewrites and character changes, the film was finally given the green light in October of 2000. Tim Burton would be hired to direct this movie in February of 2000. So in terms of filming, the filming occurred at Lake Powell in Hawaii and at the Sony Pictures studio backlot. And to preserve secrecy, the shooting script did not include an ending. Initially, Fox wanted CGI apes, but Burton insisted on using Rick Baker's prosthetic makeup. Burton would also hire frequent collaborator Danny Elfman to do the score. So the filming was actually quite smooth. However, problems did occur as Tim Roth held a grudge against Charlton Heston and his association with the NRA, the National Rifle Association. Roth would act professionally, but later stated if he knew Heston was going to be in the film, he would have declined the role. So in terms of the cast, we have Mark Wallberg, who plays Captain Leo Davidson, Tim Roth, who plays General Thade, Helen Bonham Carter, who plays Ali, Michael Clark Duncan, who plays Colonel Attar, Chris Christopherson, who plays Garbui, Paul Giamatti, who plays Limbo, and Charlton Heston does a cameo as Zaius. In terms of the plot, in the year 2029, astronaut Leo Davidson boards a pod cruiser on a space station on a rescue and recovery mission, but an abrupt tour through the space-time continuum leads him onto a strange planet where talking apes rule over the human race. With the help of sympathetic chimpanzee activist Ari and a small band of human rebels, Leo leads the effort to evade the advancing guerrilla army led by General Thade and his most trusted warrior, Attar. Now, the race is to reach the sacred temple within the planet's forbidden zone to discover the shocking secret of mankind's past and the key to the future. So this movie had quite the promotional push to it. Hasbro would release toys based on the characters, and Dark Horse Comics would release a comic book adaptation of the film. The WWE would also promote the film on SmackDown, with the Ape Guard characters appearing in a segment with wrestler Chris Jericho and Stephanie McMahon. 20th Century Fox would also collaborate with Geocaching to create an internet marketing campaign called Project Ape, APE. The promotional backstory was that a group of renegade humans were placing artifacts around the globe to reveal the alternative primate evolution, ape. Over several weeks in 2001, several props and movie memorabilia from the film were released every week. Clues were given to the location of the exact coordinates, and they would be released Friday of that week. The first person who found the large ammo boxes with the APE initials on the lid would get first pick of what was in the box. Most of this did not last beyond a couple of weeks, as they found the boxes would end up being stolen or destroyed. So in terms of a sequel, if the movie was financially successful, Fox planned on releasing a sequel to this movie. However, the success was moderate, and Fox decided not to go forward. This is probably also because Tim Burton would go on record saying if he asked if he wanted to direct a sequel, and he said he would rather jump out of a window. So obviously he did not have a great time. Would I recommend this movie? So I think this movie is a bit odd because you think of all the elements that lead to a good movie are in there. You have a really good cast with Mark Wallberg, Paul Giamatti, Tim Roth. You have a great director with Tim Burton, and you mix it with great visuals with Rick Baker and costumes from Colleen Atwood. Unfortunately, no matter how good these individual elements are, without a good story, unfortunately the film tends to just kind of be trotting along with no real emotional impact. I think the standout performance of the movie is Helen Bonham Carter. She is definitely able to capture the audience emotion and is able to shine through the restrictive ape makeup. But in terms of recommending this movie, I think it's worth watching, but it's not one I'm going to be watching over and over again. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would love for anyone to leave a comment on what they think of the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. And as we look forward to our next episode, we're going to be starting another film series as we take a look at the trilogy of The Brave Little Toaster. So we will look at the origins of the first Brave Little Toaster movie. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.